So key partners in advocacy in my community range from high-level elected officials to folks I know at the coffee shop. It's a retired individual, perhaps they worked for a major employer for most of their career, and they're not in the workforce now, but they have the ear of a lot of other folks in the community through that coffee shop connection. So I really just try to make sure that I'm genuinely building relationships in my community, getting to know a good variety of people, showing up at a good variety of community events, being myself, but also sprinkling in the message of the good work that my organization is doing. And then hopefully through them having a good, strong, positive connection with me through those coffee conversations or more specific conversations at the elected official level, they're able to communicate what I'm hoping they understand about economic development.
I think it's important to keep your elected officials and even the news media engaged in what you're doing so they aren't surprised. When you can and it's appropriate, make sure they're part of the process. The media has to be treated obviously a little different with the confidentiality and sensitivity of many projects, but to the degree you can, form a relationship with media. We've brought them into our organization and shown them our plan of work so they understand the process that we employ to get economic development in our communities. But we don't just talk to the media when there's something that's newsworthy. We try to engage with the media and keep them engaged in the process and just having that relationship with media members. But nurturing those relationships over time, it builds that trust and ultimately gets buy-in to your economic development program.
Make sure that you are doing the kind of outreach that it takes to get to those groups, because they may not be paying attention to the work that you're doing. So you've got to proactively do things to reach out to them, whether it's social media, newsletters, whatever the case may be. Make sure that you're doing the outreach that's necessary to talk to all the stakeholders you have in the community.
You know, one of the things that I do every month is a radio program to talk about our strategic plan, to talk about the latest project. I thank the community at large every time for being ambassadors of economic development wherever they may go, because you don't know who you're going to sit to next on the plane, right? So those are the kind of things that then help you spread the positivity of the work that you do without you having to do it yourself all the time.
I think the best way is, and it's time consuming on our part, is one-on-one. If you can get that media person, hey, let's have a cup of coffee together, let's have breakfast together, or your city council, or your, even board members for private organizations. Can I spend a half hour with you? What do you need to know? What can I help you? Let's talk about that, and just do one-on-one. Then you can always follow up.
Be transparent in your conversations with reporters. Talk about they like to hear the backstory on how things came to be. If you're able to recite some examples of how difficult it was or the competition that you were up against, they really want to hear that.
So just really thinking through what you are going to share with media. And it's also helpful when you can to have good relationships with media built ahead of time. So they see you as a human, they see you as a expert in the field, and will allow you that platform to help advance what's important to you. So it's always about communication and relationship building.